Hello everyone, I think it's time for another tribute video. Here's someone else on YouTube who has made brilliant videos debunking creationist nonsense. Thunderf00t. I urge you to check out all of his videos, especially the series, Why Do People Laugh at Creationists? As I make this video, there are 21 videos in this series, with hopefully many more to follow. So by way of tribute, here's a debunking of part of a creationist video, Thunderf00t style.
Well, there's a lot that we're not being told. That's the theme of my presentation tonight. There's another problem that the sun provides for evolutionary models. It's called the early faint sun paradox. We know that the sun is burning by thermonuclear reactions. I mean, the sun is basically a big hot ball of gas with thermonuclear stuff going on inside, and it keeps us all warm. However, when scientists model what's going on inside of there, they see that over time, over billions of years anyway, the composition of the sun will change as it uses up hydrogen and changes its overall composition. As the composition changes, as the types of material that make it up change, then its temperature changes too. And again, this doesn't affect us because this only happens over billions of years. But if you do believe in billions of years, then it gets interesting, because if the sun is actually 4.6 billion years old, it should have brightened by nearly 40% during this time. Now, if you think about that, if it's getting brighter over time, that means earlier on it used to be dimmer, right? Well, according to the evolutionists, life arose 3.8 billion years ago. Back then, the sun would have been 25% dimmer. Turns out that would have severe implications for life on Earth. Among other things, the average temperature here would be about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, of course, below the freezing point of water. This would make the Earth an ice planet.
Well, 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 however did our ancient ancestors survive this ice planet?
However, evolutionists believe that the average temperature on Earth hasn't changed.
This is an outright lie. In fact, his information that the sun would have been 25% dimmer than it is today is correct. It's the idea that this would turn the Earth into an ice planet, which is insanity of the kind that only a creationist can come up with. First of all, he says the average temperature would have been 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Even if we take him at his word at that, which is very dangerous when you're dealing with a creationist, this is the average temperature, not the maximum. The equator is quite a bit hotter than the poles, there are seasonal changes, and so forth. He's right that the Earth would have been very different then, but it would not have been an ice planet. Second, he completely ignores geothermal energy. Although we're still putting together a lot of the pieces about abiogenesis, we're pretty sure that life first began in the sunless depths of the oceans, where geothermal energy kept the water liquid and warm. This happens around hydrothermal vents, which exist to this day, and the areas surrounding these vents continue to be the most biologically productive parts of the oceans. Not only that, but the sun was not a significant source of energy for life until about 2.4 billion years ago, with the introduction of cyanobacteria, the first organism to use photosynthesis. Before then, the sun contributed by heating the Earth quite a bit, but it was the geothermal energy that was the driving force for life. As it happens, Earth's primordial temperature can be determined by looking at reconstructed proteins from ancient bacteria. In an issue of the journal Nature just last month, they published results showing that there was actually a massive cooling period between the formation of life and the Precambrian era about 500 million years ago. The ancient oceans were much warmer than they are today, and organisms during that time had to produce proteins that were stable at high temperatures. These results are identical to the temperature trends measured by geologists for many years now. Science uses independent data in separate fields to try and see if there's a convergence. And in this case, there absolutely is. There is no reason at all for the data from these two fields to match so closely unless that's how things really were all that time ago.
However, evolutionists believe that the average temperature on Earth hasn't changed.
There is no way anyone could have honestly researched the issue for even a few minutes and come to that conclusion. Remember that this video started out by saying,
well, there's a lot that we're not being told. That's the theme of my presentation tonight.
He's accusing evolutionary scientists of not telling the whole story. of leaving out significant details in order to mislead people. In truth, that's exactly what he's doing. The only data he gave was solar luminosity. He ignored the all-important geothermal energy as well as the data showing that the ancient oceans were much warmer than they are today. Can anyone say projection?
Well, there's a lot that we're not being told. That's the theme of my presentation tonight. There's another problem that the sun provides for evolutionary models. It's called the early faint sun paradox. According to the evolutionists, life arose 3.8 billion years ago. Back then, the sun would have been 25% dimmer. Turns out that would have severe implications for life on Earth. Among other things, the average temperature here would be about 30 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, of course, below the freezing point of water. This would make the Earth an ice planet. However, evolutionists believe that the average temperature on Earth hasn't changed.